So, we've just talked about how the first derivative influences the concavity of a function. In particular, regions where the first derivative is positive, the function is concave up. Regions where the first derivative is negative, the function is concave down. And then we may well ask, well, what happens in between? What happens when the function changes from concave up to concave down, or concave down to concave up? If you think about what goes on with the first derivative, when the first derivative changes sign from positive to negative or negative to positive, then the point of that change is a critical point. Either the first derivative is 0 or it's undefined, and at a critical point you often have an extremum, either a max or a min. And as the question arises, what would be the analog with the second derivative? What's going on at a point where the second derivative is 0? And so if you have a point where the second derivative equals 0, this is something we call a point of inflection. And let's talk about exactly what that means. If we look at the function, we see it's definitely concave down during this region. It's definitely concave up over here. But there's a point right in the middle, and I'm going to say right about here, that is the point of inflection. And one way to say it is a point of no curvature. It is the point where the function stops curving down and starts curving up, or vice versa, stops curving up and starts curving down. Another way to say it is, imagine that function were an actual road, and you were actually driving along this road. So, of course, when you're driving along this region here, your steering wheel would be off to the right. You'd have the steering wheel to the right to go around that curve. Later on, when you're driving over here, your steering wheel would have to be to the left. So if you think of the actual experience of driving, if you're driving on a road of this shape, in the process of going from the first half of the road to the second half of the road, there would have to be some point exactly in the middle, some moment in time when your steering wheel was pointed exactly forward. Now, it probably wouldn't just be still there. Probably what would be happening is that it would be going from the left to the right, and it would just instantaneously cross that place where it's perfectly still. But the place where the car would be pointed perfectly straight forward ahead without turning to the right or to the left, that place is a point of inflection. And that's exactly what the function is doing at that point. At that point, the function has no curvature, and it's as close to being a straight line at that point as at any other point. So that is the basic idea of a point of inflection. In the next video, we'll talk about how to find these.